plurinational state of Bolivia is one of the biggest surprise countries I've yet encountered among the many dozens of nations I've researched so far. Is it a good option if you want to move there? Let's find out. If you like this kind of content and want to see more of it for free, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Alright, without further ado, let's get on with it. Bolivia is a South American sovereign constitutionally unitary state and is one of the best options in this region to move to, if not in the world. And that's saying much, seeing how it has some stiff competition from excellent countries nearby. Like many Latin American countries, Bolivia's geography is pretty diverse, and you can find tall mountains as well as lowlands. In fact, 33% of Bolivia lies in the Andes. It borders Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, Chile, and Peru. Unfortunately, there are no beaches here as it doesn't border any ocean or sea. I guess there are some lakes, but that's not really the same. Bolivia is surprisingly large. It's the fifth largest country in the region and the largest landlocked country in the southern hemisphere. Around 11 million people live in the Spanish-speaking, multi-ethnic nation. Over 60% of those are younger than 25, and 67% live in urban areas. It used to be a part of the Inca Empire before becoming a colony of Spain. Since 1809, Bolivia had been clamoring for independence, declared for it in 1825, and under the leadership of the Venezuelan Simón Bolívar, it liberated itself from Spanish rule. As you can probably tell, Bolivia took its name from this man. In sharp contrast with most other Latin American countries, Bolivia remained relatively stable after its independence until the USA interfered in 1971 and supported a coup which ousted the democratically elected government. In favor of a military dictatorship led by Hugo Suarez. This wonderful human being tortured and killed many citizens until his removal from power in 1978, and then he returned in 1997 to actually get elected. Since 1982, Bolivia has been run by democratically elected governments. It's still a developing country with a high ranking in the Human Development Index. Bolivia mainly focuses on agriculture and manufacturing, in addition to being very rich in minerals. Okay, let's check out some of Bolivia's numerous advantages now. Bolivia's cost of living is really low, and anyone with an income of around $1,000 a month can live here. Although I would suggest you aim for earning at least twice that to account for emergencies and unforeseen circumstances, and to pay for better than average healthcare and facilities. Bolivia has been prospering since 2006 and has seen significant economic growth and political stability. Its economy is even the fastest growing in the region at an average of 5% per year. It is still the second poorest country in South America, but it is rising rapidly. It also has the lowest inflation of any Latin American country. In other words, while it's currently a bit lacking and lagging behind first world countries, it is most certainly booming and you can take advantage of this. Spanish is the official language of this nation, which is pretty great because if you learn Spanish, you can get by in 90% of Latin America. However, if you can't or just don't want to learn that language, Bolivia's average English proficiency is moderate as well. If you have foreign sourced income, which you definitely should have, you do not have to pay taxes on it in Bolivia as an individual. Bolivia has a wildly varied climate, going from tropical to polar. You got warm, humid summers in the east, dry ones in the west. Bolivia has a high level of biodiversity, several ecoregions with ecological subunits. For example, you've got tropical rainforests, dry valleys, savanna, and the Altiplano, the most extensive high plateau on Earth, not counting Tibet. This country is still one of the most stable, politically speaking, in the area. No visa is required for most Westerners for a stay of up to 90 days. Temporary residence visa is possible for 1 year if you go there to work or do other activities. This can be extended to 2 years. Residency is possible after living in the country for a few years, and citizenship as well. Dual nationality is allowed. Bolivia has some dangerous areas, like every country, but in general it's pretty safe. In addition, it's very unlikely to be involved in a war. That being said, there are some disadvantages to living in Bolivia as well. There aren't any major red flags which would disqualify this country from moving there. Pretty unexpected, honestly. This isn't a massive deal, but Bolivia doesn't have any beaches. Like Paraguay, it's a landlocked country, which means if you fancy going to the ocean for a swim, you'll have to go to another country. As previously stated, Bolivia is the second poorest country in the area, which means income inequality is a severe issue. Many locals are dirt poor and sometimes turn to petty crime, and infrastructure is relatively underdeveloped. Likewise for healthcare facilities. But, and this is important to note, this is mostly the case in rural areas. If you're staying in the upscale neighborhoods of large cities, this shouldn't affect you all that much. As you can tell, while its downsides are certainly there, if you've got a decently sized international income and don't do anything stupid, Bolivia can be perfectly fine for you. Let's look at some concrete numbers now and see how Bolivia fares on my scoring system based on its climate, level of English proficiency, cost of living, taxes on international income, economic growth, safety, and the logistics of moving and staying there. If we take the average of all these numbers, we can see that Bolivia gets a most excellent 8.2 out of 10.
No way! Yes way!
This is one of the highest scores I've seen so far, beaten only by Paraguay and the Dominican Republic. In summation, let's answer the question, how is life for expats in Bolivia? Well, life for expats in Bolivia can be really sweet. The cost of living is low, the amount of effort and time you have to put into moving and staying there is minimal, and there are plenty of advantages. With even a low to average location independent income, you can get by in Bolivia. You don't even have to pay taxes on it. Bolivia boasts a lot of beautiful nature, such as forests, mountains, rivers, savannas, and so on. So if you're into exploring, you can do that to your heart's content. Bolivia doesn't really have any major red flags apart from the poverty, which can be seen as both an avoidable disadvantage and a straight up advantage for you as a foreigner with a decent income. Yes, the crime is a bit high in certain areas, climate change is potentially devastating to the country, and there are other small factors which could annoy you, but nothing too bad. I can fully recommend setting up bases in Bolivia, or you can even move there permanently and use it as your main base of operations. It's a great option and definitely deserves to be on your radar. There we go. Hope you learned something about this country. I'm curious to hear about your thoughts. Are you interested in moving to Bolivia? Or have you been living here for a while and want to add something I forgot to mention? Let me know in the comments below. In any case, if you want more information about other countries you can move to, check out my website at escapingthewest.net. If you want to learn more about why the Western world is going down, how you can make sure you're protected, or if you just want to support the channel, consider checking out my new book available on Amazon. Thank you all so much for watching and see you in the next video.